Hi there, mate. First of all, I'd like to say I'm a little bit sorry for submitting your work to you late. We had some major internet server issues this weekend, which resulted in a lot of student work not coming through to us. So I'm getting through it all now. I'll send this over to you very soon. But let's begin first with your task 1. So one thing that's true in this task is we're actually talking about the estimated number of visits. And it's by people from Canada, Mexico, and the USA. The reason I've changed those is because we don't really know whether they are Mexican or Canadian or American. We just know where they're coming from. So we have to talk about the country of origin, not the nationality. Also, we shouldn't talk about what people loved doing because we can't get that from the graph. These task 1s, the focus is to describe the graph or the chart accurately, but not adding any extra information in. Excuse me. So this is an example of adding in extra information to talk about what people loved doing, because the graph does not give any information about that. So we should say, and also you've written it in the past tense, and this is estimated visits in 2018. So overall, tourists from the USA are expected to travel most when compared to Mexicans and Canadians. I would remove this actually. Tourists from the USA are expected to travel most, while Mexicans, people from Mexico actually, I would say, are projected to travel the least. Once again, we're adding in extra information. This is subjective, which means it belongs to your brain only. Not everybody will find this interesting, but what we could say is notably. So to take note of. Notably, each country has their own, I would say, favoured visitors from the USA preferred Paris. Canada's first choice was Istanbul. And I wouldn't use this. And Mexico's number 1, actually no, preference. Mexico's preference was Madrid. Throughout 2018, it was evident that Paris, and it can't be evident because this is something in the future. Evidence must exist, therefore it must have happened in the past. Throughout 2018, it is thought that Paris will be a popular city to visit. Mexico is expected to provide 30,000 visits. Oh, no. Canada, 48,000 visits. And the USA, the highest proportion of 100,000 visits to Paris. Maybe we can do this, actually. This is a bit complicated for... Don't try to do this in the future. But when we're separating lists... Actually, no, we should use a colon. However, Madrid was only moderately popular amongst the three countries. For people travelling... Oh. Madrid is estimated to be only moderately popular amongst the three countries. Semicolon. For people travelling from Mexico, Canada, and the USA, visitors to Madrid numbered 65,000. Could number, talking about future conditional, really. 65,000, 30,000, and 70,000 respectively. Good. London and Istanbul. London and Istanbul are projected to be not so popular cities to visit for tourists from Mexico. There are only 20,000 visits for both London and Istanbul. We could use a semicolon there. Canadians, tourists from Canada, visitors from Canada, seem to have a low interest in Madrid. Again, not... Actually, the USA has the lowest number of visitors to Istanbul at 60,000 visits. Cool. So your reading of the information was correct, but quite frequently there were errors in tenses. So if we're talking about something that is estimated in the future, we must always talk about it in the future. If we're talking about a study that was done in the past, then we can talk about what was measured, what was shown, what is evident. But if we are discussing something that is thought to happen in the future, then we must stick to it is projected that, it is thought that, it is estimated that, this could be this. We don't know. So let me just scroll down here. So I simply don't have the time to correct the whole thing again, but I can tell you how you responded. So, intro. Still, I don't see an answer to this question. We need, in both your intro and your conclusion, as well as somewhere in the body, we need both of these questions answered. And it seems to me that you've written an advantage, disadvantage, as well as a discuss both views essay, when actually this is just a direct question. We must answer this, we must answer this, but we don't need to do anything else. We don't need to provide the advantages and disadvantages of copyright laws. We need to say whether we believe that it rewards creativity or hinders it, and why. And then the next bit will follow naturally. If you believe that copyright laws hinder creativity, then you probably believe that society would function better without them. If you feel that copyright law rewards creativity, then you probably feel that society functions better with them. So It's a naturally flowing answer. So you see, we should have our first body paragraph should cover this. Our second body paragraph should cover this. But the intro and conclusion should encompass both. So this actually, we're still not quite answering the whole question. Simply because we haven't included this second part. And it's in the task response section of the mark scheme. It's absolutely crucial that we respond to every single part of the question that's presented to us. So you have written an advantage disadvantage essay here, when actually this was a two-part question, a two-part direct question. But like I said, I can't move through it and correct it bit by bit. I simply don't have the time today. I'm just going to have to move on to this one. So this is another two-part question. Body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, intro and conclusion. And also, this is a question of what ought to happen. Should humans change their behavior to suit emerging technologies, or should we only design technologies to suit our existing behaviors? So let's have a quick look. So it's quite clear that you do believe that humans should adapt to technology, and that doing so makes us intellectually stronger. So that is a complete answer to the question. But let's have a see if it's clear. I understand what you mean there, but I think it would be better to say assimilating, to take on board, to make part of oneself, to assimilate. The issue of whether humans assimilating technological knowledge has reshaped our thinking has grown in importance in the last few decades. I strongly feel that adaptation amongst mankind to scientific knowledge is a reality in this generation and should continue. This essay will discuss how information technology makes us smarter in many ways, using examples from medical and educational fields. Cool. The reason I included this is because, remember, it's a question of what ought to happen, what should happen. So we need to be making recommendations throughout. Humans should adapt to technology because this. Humans should. Technology does make us intellectually stronger because this. So as individuals adapt to digital knowledge, they are able to create profound outcomes. This is largely because technology helps to create precise results and efficiency in their work. Yeah, that's fine. Furthermore, there are medical research projects in which human capabilities alone will not be able to attain an optimum result. For example, a recent study from Harvard shows that with the help of technological intelligence, doctors are able to obtain 96% accuracy. Achieve, maybe? Would be more precise. Doctors are able to achieve 96% accuracy on the spread of cancer cells in a patient's body. Is this on mapping? Are able to achieve 96% accuracy on the mapping of the spread of cancer cells in a patient's body. Because I don't know how you'd be accurate in the spread of cancer. So maybe we're talking about the mapping of the spread of cancer. Therefore, having this kind of information may save many cancer victims' lives. Better to say patient. Cancer patients' lives. We wouldn't really say that someone was a victim of cancer. Someone could be a victim of theft, or a victim of robbery, or a victim of many things, but it requires an active agent for you to be a victim. If you were a victim of cancer, you would essentially be a victim of yourself. So it doesn't quite work. Moreover, in the education field, with the assistance of open source technology, students will be able to collaborate and produce deeper research in their studies that will increase their competency and enrich their knowledge. This is due to the fact that scholars from most countries in the world are unlikely to have sufficient resources to acquire enough information for their studies. In addition, shared expertise is vital for the development of a country. For example, I think we should do this here. For example, world education is sourcing for volunteers from developed countries to help underprivileged countries to improve the quality of education. Underprivileged countries to improve their quality of education. Hence, technology has benefited humans greatly simply because we are more knowledgeable with the support of digital information. To conclude from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that technological adaptation amongst humans should be encouraged, I would say, for the betterment of creating the future, creating a competent future generation. Since it most certainly improves human intellectual potential. So this one was much better. We just need to make sure that you express your ideas strongly enough, in the sense that that they are clear, that your opinion is clear throughout. Your arguments are okay, but needed a little bit of expansion in places, such as here. But you are improving. That's nice to see. What I would like to see is more recognition of this part of the question throughout, though. You've kind of given us two positives about why technology is good for people, but it needed to be more attached to the idea of, should we adapt to emerging technologies? Will this process make us intellectually stronger? Rather than focusing on evidence for the technological good, we should have used the evidence for the technological good to argue that we should adapt to technology and that it will make us intellectually stronger. Keep the question at the forefront of your mind. Make sure that you're responding exactly to, every time you come up with an idea, make sure that you use that idea to answer the question. But we're getting there. Nice job, May. I'll speak to you again very soon.